This is day 2 of me trading my newly purchased 100k funded challenge. And today I made $3,270 compared to yesterday when I was down almost $2,500 because including all the stop losses and the commission incurred, it was more than 2,000, so 2,500. And now considering the profit that I made today, I'm up 0.7 on my account, so just like $770 in plus. And let me just explain what trades I took. I took 3 trades in total. The first one resulted in me taking a stop loss. The second one was full TP. This is USD on the left. And the third one was sort of half TP on British pound, or maybe 1/3 of the TP. So before we dive into the trades, let me just explain the bias going to the day very quickly. So I had the same short bias just like yesterday, which was carried on actually from yesterday. So as we can see, we have 4-hour rejection block on the left, which was nicely respected, and following that the price just went down, closed below IDM, did a break of structure. So today I was just expecting for price to come back to this previous weekly level and sweep all this liquidity. And let me move GBP to DXY and I'll show you what I mean by that. And same on DXY, I was just expecting to move higher. However, I wasn't really expecting a large move all the way to the downside, but at least some sort of correction, until Frankfurt's low. So at the start of London, I'm looking at the charts and I'm like, okay, I'm bearish. I have 2 scenarios in my head. How do I entertain the market? So 2 scenarios. The first scenario was I wait for a sweep of Frankfurt session and then a drop from here. Okay, very simple first scenario. The second scenario was top of the order block and then drop that from here. Again, very, very simple. So what does market do? Market opens during London, sweeps Frankfurt session liquidity. Same happens on the XY. At the same time, we have RSI divergence on the XY. So this low is higher than this low, but on the chart is the other way around. So that's like SMT with RSI. That's something I use for confluence. And we also have OTE. So we have a sweep, OTE, and a pin bar. And this is also sort of a candle pattern when we have an inside candle and then we have a sweep with the next candle of these previous 2 candles. Okay, that's like a pattern that shows like a strength that the market is ready to reverse. So given all this, I decided to enter aggressively because there was no entry on 1 minute time frame. So usually I wait for a break of structure, something like this, then for price to return into 1 minute block and then go lower from here. But in this case, because break of structure would have been so far, I decided to preserve the aura and just enter on the close of this 15-minute candle. So I essentially entered off the 15-minute open high low close. And 15 minutes later I realized this wasn't the best idea. But I wasn't really sad about it because I know that half of the time, so like 5 out of 10, it's just exactly the same setups, the setup would have worked. Because I know that many times I traded it and it worked. I just was unlucky this time. You don't win every time in trading. So then I was waiting for my second scenario to play out. Okay, so I was waiting for the price to come into this order block. And this exactly happened, but on DXY. So if you look on DXY, it has come into the order block, but I do not enter just of the first tap. So I was waiting for the second tap of this order block. And as we can see, did the second tap, close with the pin bar. And pay attention, if you remember, I mentioned in the video about order blocks 2 days earlier. I'll put a video up here. I said that the best way to enter the 15-minute order block is to wait for the precision 1 minute order block within it. Let me just explain to you what I mean by that. So if we go on the left at the start of the order block, we can see that there is 1 minute order block within this 15 minutes. So this is it, okay? And as you remember, we don't pay attention to inside candles, so there is actually this slight small FVG between this candle and this candle. So this is why it's 1 minute order block. And then extending all the way to the right, oops, what have I done? Extending all the way to the right, we can see that price on DXY comes very nicely into this 1 minute order block and starts displacing from there. Okay, so given that, let me just put the position up. Given that, I decided to enter aggressively again, but in this case I risked 1%. So on first trade I risked 0.5 and on this one I risked 1%. Because I know that in my trading strategy it says I can lose up to 2% per day. And because I already lost 0.5, I can still risk 1.5%. So I risked 1% on Euro USD, but I was slightly concerned about the fact that it has not tapped its block. Okay, so we have all the confidence in a form of RSI divergence. We also came into deep retracement in this range. You know, DXY tapped 1 hour block, by the way, 1 hour block. So looked really nice on high time frame. And besides that, if it tapped 15-minute order block, formed the RSI divergence, and also tapped 1 minute order block within it. So everything looked fine, but I was just concerned about this 15-minute block not being tapped. So I decided to go on GBP USD and check it out. And I noticed that GBP actually has tapped has tapped its 15-minute block, also closed with a pin bar, but hasn't provided any RSI divergence. So see, this high is higher than this high. So no RSI divergence, while we have RSI divergence in Euro, but this one has tapped the block and this one hasn't. So I was a bit like, you know, unsure which one I should enter. So I decided to risk 1% on Euro and 0.5% on GBP, just to sort of, you know, ensure myself in case that one of them is weaker and the one is stronger. So what happened? I was actually targeting initially these two lows, so equal lows on Euro USD, but then later I decided to just take partials here in a form of a 50% cut from the total position size. So that was my first partial, and the full TP was obviously at the low Frankfurt. And on GBP USD, I didn't take any partials. I decided that, I mean, obviously, as I was observing it, as soon as the price made this low, I moved my stop loss all the way to here, to this level. So I trailed my stop loss to this level. And as soon as the price came back, I got stopped. On Euro USD, as soon as I took partials, I also moved my stop loss to break even. So I was completely risk-free on this trade. Really, really nice. Really good management from my side and today, surprisingly. So yeah, I think that's pretty much it. I've made $3,270, as I said. I might try to include a screenshot of my MT5 for today. And if you have any questions, feel free to ask me at the end of this video. And also, please subscribe to my Telegram channel, which I will include in the description of this video. And yeah, my next video should be released maybe tomorrow if I'll be trading, or on Thursday. Have a good day, guys.